The countdown is on for Capella Music Festival on Saturday, March 29th at the Festival Green, Camana Bay. An unforgettable experience and non-stop entertainment presented by Cayman Airways and Camana Bay, featuring international stars Ashanti, Clean Bandit, Gramps Morgan, Kamani Marley, and Elaine, Nyla Blackman, and DJ Puffy, alongside local artists and DJs across 3 stages. Purchase at Tier 1 pricing while supplies last at CapellaMusicFestival.com or in-store at Blackbeard's, AA Rubus, FIS MoneyGram, Winter Circle, Tortuga, and Sing's Roadie Shop. Capella Music Festival, Saturday, March 29th. A true festival experience. Brought to you by the Cayman Islands Department of Tourism, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Hopscotch Productions, Bacardi, Massive Equipment, Barreau Development, and Stingray Media.
I'll be alone, I'll be waiting.
The countdown is on for Capella Music Festival on Saturday, March 29th at the Festival Green, Camana Bay. An unforgettable experience and non-stop entertainment presented by Cayman Airways and Camana Bay, featuring international stars Ashanti, Clean Bandit, Gramps Morgan, Kamani Marley, and Elaine, Nyla Blackman, and DJ Puffy, alongside local artists and DJs across 3 stages. Purchase at Tier 1 pricing while supplies last at CapellaMusicFestival.com or in-store at Blackbeard's, AA Rubus, FIS MoneyGram, Winter Circle, Tortuga, and Sing's Roadie Shop. Capella Music Festival, Saturday, March 29th. A true festival experience. Brought to you by the Cayman Islands Department of Tourism, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Hopscotch Productions, Bacardi, Massive Equipment, Barreau Development, and Stingray Media. The countdown is on for Capella Music Festival on Saturday, March 29th at the Festival Green, Camana Bay. An unforgettable experience and non-stop entertainment presented by Cayman Airways and Camana Bay, featuring international stars Ashanti, Clean Bandit, Gramps Morgan, Kamani Marley, and Elaine, Nyla Blackman, and DJ Puffy, alongside local artists and DJs across 3 stages. Purchase at Tier 1 pricing while supplies last at CapellaMusicFestival.com or in store at Blackbeard's, AA Rubis, FIS MoneyGram, Winter Circle, Tortuga, and Sing's Roadie Shop. Capella Music Festival, Saturday, March 29th. A true festival experience. Brought to you by the Cayman Islands Department of Tourism, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Hopscotch Productions, Bacardi, Massive Equipment, Barreau Development, and Stingray Media. The countdown is on for Capella Music Festival on Saturday, March 29th at the Festival Green, Camana Bay. An unforgettable experience and non-stop entertainment presented by Cayman Airways and Camana Bay, featuring international stars Ashanti, Clean Bandit, Gramps Morgan, Kamani Marley, and Elaine, Nyla Blackman, and DJ Puffy, alongside local artists and DJs across 3 stages. Purchase at Tier 1 pricing while supplies last at CapellaMusicFestival.com or in store at Blackbeard's, AA Rubis, FIS MoneyGram, Winter Circle, Tortuga, and Sing's Roadie Shop. Capella Music Festival, Saturday, March 29th. A true festival experience. Brought to you by the Cayman Islands Department of Tourism, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Hopscotch Productions, Bacardi, Massive Equipment, Barreau Development, and Stingray Media. The countdown is on for Capella Music Festival on Saturday, March 29th at the Festival Green, Camana Bay. An unforgettable experience and non-stop entertainment presented by Cayman Airways in Camana Bay, featuring international stars Ashanti, Clean Bandit, Gramps Morgan, Kamani Marley, and Elaine, Nyla Blackman, and DJ Puffy, alongside local artists and DJs across 3 stages. Purchase at Tier 1 pricing while supplies last at CapellaMusicFestival.com or in-store at Blackbeard's, AA Rubus, FIS MoneyGram, Winter Circle, Tortuga, and Sing's Roadie Shop. Capella Music Festival, Saturday, March 29th. A true festival experience. Brought to you by the Cayman Islands Department of Tourism, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Hopscotch Productions, Bacardi, Massive Equipment, Barreau Development, and Stingray Media.
Romeo, take me somewhere we can be alone. I'll be waiting.
The countdown is on for Capella Music Festival on Saturday, March 29th at the Festival Green, Camana Bay. An unforgettable experience and non-stop entertainment presented by Cayman Airways in Camana Bay, featuring international stars Ashanti, Clean Bandit, Gramps Morgan, Kamani Marley, and Elaine, Nyla Blackman, and DJ Puffy, alongside local artists and DJs across 3 stages. Purchase at Tier 1 pricing while supplies last at CapellaMusicFestival.com or in-store at Blackbeard's, AA Rubus, FIS MoneyGram, Winter Circle, Tortuga, and Sing's Roadie Shop. Capella Music Festival, Saturday, March 29th. A true festival experience. Brought to you by the Cayman Islands Department of Tourism, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Hopscotch Productions, Bacardi, Massive Equipment, Barreau Development, and Stingray Media.
Present the views of Stingray Media, its staff, or contributors. Callers to the program accept full responsibility for the views expressed. The show host and affiliates are not liable for any statements made or any harm claimed. All callers to the program indemnify Straight Talk from all claims. Offensive, defamatory, or unlawful content will not be tolerated. Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Now, here's Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio on Bobo 103.1.
And happy Friday, K-Man. I'm your host, Austin Harris.
And I'm Ellio Solomon, and welcome to Straight Talk. Right away, if you want to call here in the studio, the number to call is 745-2626. And of course, there's a WhatsApp number. I'm hearing that voices too, Austin. But I promise I won't jump. You hear it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I hear it. I hear something.
Yes, I'm hearing feedback in my headset.
Not even know where that's coming from. Doesn't sound like anything playing here. You're picking up something else. Either way.
Is your phone still on?
No, I don't think so. Wouldn't have anything to do with that anyway, right?
I died yesterday with Shirley, Cayman's first woman dive master.
Oh, wait a minute.
And
Something on your computer.
Now, I snorkel on Eden Rock.
Oh, Lord, here we go.
And it was
There's always a little technical challenge around here, I tell you. I even wanted to chat about something today, but apparently can't get that up either. What a myriad of challenges. What can I say? What can I say? You found it.
I found it. It was
A
going.
computer leakage.
Yes, the computer was going on. I just had to get to the bottom of it because it was driving me crazy.
Yeah, I know. We're hearing voices.
And we were
don't
just
jump.
saying today, you know what? It just seems like we are plagued with technical issues that just won't leave us alone. And just when we think we've got everything fixed, there's something else that pops up that, well, makes absolutely no sense, like what was just taking place.
Well, what don't kill you make you stronger, they say.
That's what they say. Well, let's start over, shall we? Welcome, K-Man, to our Friday episode of Straight Talk here on Bobo 103.1 FM on your radio dial. The phone lines are open at 745-2626 on this, once again, Open Mic Monday. 2 days in a row, no guests, but that's okay. It hasn't stopped us from having a good conversation, huh, buds?
No, absolutely. We don't need a guest.
We don't need a guest.
You know, or people calling, you know, and interrupting the both.
Right. He doesn't mean that.
I'm just kidding.
He does not mean that.
All right, don't get all upset. It's just a joke. Come on.
He does not mean that.
We're looking forward to you calling.
We'd
Come on.
love to hear from you. As a matter of fact, what I was going to say was, despite the fact that we had no guests yesterday, certainly the phone line started to get active towards the latter half of the show.
You see, I'll tell you why I make these comments. I make these comments because I don't want to put stress on the listener, you see?
Right.
A guy should just be able to sit in his car and relax and hear the jive. If he feels like calling in, he call. I don't even like announcing the numbers too much.
Okay.
It's like you're applying pressure. It's like, why do I feel like I need a call, you know? Come on, guys, talk on your own. You know, why are you putting this pressure on me? So that's why I say things like, you know, people want to call in case they want to interrupt us or something.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm just doing it to remove the stress
All right.
from off you.
Well, certainly call if you want to call, or kick back and enjoy your ride in traffic and listen to what we have to say. Either way works for us. If calling on your dime is asking too much, and you certainly want to call our version of toll-free, then by all means you can reach out to us via our WhatsApp number, 928-2562. And from there you can send us either a voice note or a traditional WhatsApp text message. I hear you chuckling over there.
I'm just thinking,
Something
I was kind of
amusing.
wondering, I was trying to do a comparison, like, well, who's worse? I don't want to be interrupted, just in case you want to interrupt us. And then someone says, in case you don't want to spend your money, in case that's too much for you. I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know who's worse.
I don't know who's worse right here. No, buddy.
Quite right. Well, we certainly don't want to disenfranchise ourselves from the listening audience.
They know
and
it.
those-
They
and
know
those-
They know this is banter time.
It
Unless
is.
you're a newbie, this is banter time. Anything goes.
This is certainly banter time, indeed. Again, reminding you, coming up on Monday, it's next week, Monday, we look forward to hosting prominent local attorney Anthony Travers, who will be in studios to talk to us about beneficial ownership registries, and in particular, a decision made by the U.S. Treasury not to enforce particularly the public portion of those registries, unlike that which, of course, the UK has been trying to convince the Cayman Islands of for some time. Again, all part of this, what they call unfair tax competition. But to your point and your constant point, there's always some other ulterior, alternative motive that isn't always apparent at the time, but always sold as being good for us.
Oh, yeah. This, this is good for you.
Take your medicine. It'll fix you right up. I know it tastes terrible, but take it.
The doctor's coming with a big, huge needle. This is going to hurt a little bit, but it's good.
You're going to be fine.
Bend over. I got chat there.
Here it comes.
Here we go. Yeah.
Quite right.
All I can say is, on the a little bit of this beneficial ownership is that the thing of it is that's weird is that, there's already a lot of provisions. Don't let anyone fool you in terms of where persons out there, authorities in different countries and so on, can get access to the information. I mean, we've had the MLAT. There's a lot of different the tax information exchanges agreements and stuff. There's tons of ways and avenues, if you like, or there are avenues. Let's put it that way, for the regular, the proper authorities to be able to get access to information. And there's a constant sharing of information. I think it's a CRS system, myriad of different things. The question is, why are you now making it that pretty much any supposed media company can just come and say, hey, by the way, I need to know who the beneficial ownership is here?
Yeah.
I don't know. Call me a conspiracist, but it sounds very weird to me.
Sure.
And again, it was being sold, obviously, to our elected officials as the global standard. This is the new norm.
The new norm. Right.
And apparently, our friend, amongst other things, should be able to highlight to us, in all of the intellectualism and knowledge that he possesses, that this is no such global standard. We've once again been tricked, duped, and bamboozled.
Right.
They're trying it again. And it is good only that the United States has there's a common sense group in the party.
Yes.
And that's the good old United States. For those who mightn't necessarily agree with the trumpet, I'm a trumper. But, again, I'm thankful that the United States is basically being able to say, we don't need all that.
Right.
I don't think that's right.
I don't think it's necessary.
It's totally unnecessary. In fact, we arguably think it's wrong.
Indeed. And
so we look forward to that discussion on Monday.
We do, and it will be even more unfiltered than our show normally is, if you can imagine that. But if you can't, certainly it is not to miss radio on Monday evening here on Straight Talk. What else we got going on?
Yeah, and just about the guest part of comments, we prefer the quality over quantity, Mr. Harris. And we're definitely getting a quality guest right there.
We are certainly getting those quality guests.
I assure you.
Certainly, members of the public will note from yesterday that that we were trying to get the Crisis Center on today, but unfortunately our schedules just couldn't vibe. There may be an opportunity next week, and as soon as we have that confirmed, I will certainly share those details, not only with you, Ellio, but with the wider listening audience.
Well, I appreciate that
as well.
Someone's listening.
We have something going on. Yeah, no, Wednesday is not going to work. So, yes, we're going to see what we can do. Wednesday, next week also, we will be hosting, just checking the old diary there, we have the independent candidate from Red Bay, Mr. Philip Ebanks, will also be our guest for the first half hour of the program, and we look forward to that discussion. They just had last night their Red Bay debate, so throughout the course of this show we can sort of pick it apart a little bit, as the case may be, talk about it. But certainly next week, Wednesday, Mr. Ebanks will be our guest in studios, and he'll talk to us about his top priorities, and certainly having a lot more than the 2 minutes per question that the chamber debates normally affords him. So that should be a very good discussion.
We do have a bell.
And we do have a bell, and we're not, we have a bell, and some of us in studios are really enthusiastic about using it. I was going to say we'd rather not use it, but that's not the truth.
No, we're not going to use it on that one, no. That's kind of a more of a schools in kind of thing, or a bit of an applause, depending on the moment. But I do know that gentleman for quite some time. I don't want to take too many tales of the school, but I've known the gentleman for quite a time. I'll never forget. Boy, am I giving you all the news. So I may have said this before, but so I used to, as a younger man, maybe I was accused. I can't say I'm guilty, but I was accused of speeding every now and then, Austin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, rumor has it.
Okay.
So I had a nice little Honda Prelude back in the day, and I don't know who was making these terrible accusations against me.
Terrible.
It was terrible.
Baseless.
I mean, this is not something that a
The
young man would do.
unmitigated gall.
Yeah. This is not something that a young man would do, you know?
Right.
So anyway, that gentleman, I'll never forget, he was protective. He was looking after me. And he goes to my parents, apparently, and says, hey, by the way, you know, keep an eye on your son. I think he's going a little bit too fast in that car. I don't want anything to happen to him. But I'll never forget that.
Back in the day when the community raised a child.
Yeah, when it was a village raising a child.
Right.
And I really,
That's what it was.
I think even from then, but definitely retrospective, I really appreciate that. You know, I really appreciate that you had persons like that were looking out for you and saying, I gotta try to do something with this boy before he kills himself. And then the other amazing thing is the guy who actually sold me the car, which he's dead now, but the guy that actually sold me the car calls me, and somehow the news must have got to him, right?
Right.
So he calls me, I got to do something in the car. And then he goes under my hood, does something to it, and all of a sudden I can't speed anymore.
Okay.
I'm like, this is a conspiracy
You
here.
put a governor on your old speedometer there.
Yeah, I don't know what he did. I'm not a mechanic, but
Yeah.
I don't know, messed me up.
Messed you up.
I thought I'd
entirely.
share that little bit of a story. Hopefully Philip doesn't get too upset and want to arrest me or something.
Let's hope not. Let's hope not. Well, again, Philip E. Banks, now independent candidate for the constituency of Red Bay. He will be our guest on Wednesday at 4:30, and he will be with us for approximately a half an hour. And then again, of course, before that, preceding it on Monday, we will have the pleasure of the company of Mr. Anthony Travers, also at 4:30. Yeah?
Yep, 4:30.
And we will be chatting about beneficial ownership and everything you wanted to know but were afraid to ask. The attorney, the lawyer, will be in the house. And, well, we look forward to that conversation right here on Straight Talk.
And most people should know Mr. Travers, but he's always been, at least as far as I know,
Yes.
a strong voice for the Cayman Islands, you know, in particular in terms of our financial services. So
He has. A
It's-
strong
it's-
defender of it
a
against,
defender.
of course, you know, criticism that oftentimes comes from abroad,
Yeah.
whether it be, I think in the initial stages, it started being, you know, the Hollywood branding of the Cayman Islands as this sinister and dark place in which to do business. I think I remember many moons ago, he was always outspoken about that. And then, of course,
Yeah.
with the whole beneficial ownership and other FATF-related matters that
Right.
he deemed to be unreasonable, again, he was always at the forefront.
absolutely.
I want to say that he was at the forefront of defending financial services sector before the idea of Cayman Finance was born, if I'm not mistaken.
You may very well be correct.
Yeah.
That could be a good question to ask.
He was a precursor, in my memory, to the Cayman Finance, which, of course, for those in the listening audience who do not know, Cayman Finance is the organization who's charged with the obligation to defend and promote the Cayman Islands Financial Services Center, both locally and abroad. That is led by Mr. Steve McIntosh. You might remember that name and certainly have remembered some of our commentary in that regard. Big shout out to Steve if he's listening. Friend of both of ours, though with perhaps some of our constructive criticisms, we might not be close buddies.
Hey, speak for
anymore,
yourself,
but,
buddy.
you know, maybe.
No, I don't think so. We can be all professional here.
It is 46 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock, and we are in the happy portion of our program. We got some good news to share, but not before we hear from this very short commercial break. So keep it locked. There'll be more Straight Talk here on Bobo 103.1 FM.
More Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio coming up. Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Bobo FM.
Join Capella Music Festival for the annual Soundbites Charity Dinner on Thursday, March 27th at Mykonos State Club in benefit of Loud Silent Voices. Hosting special guests Gramps Morgan and author Dr. Annabelle Manalo Morgan. Tickets are $195 CI for a 3-course dinner, wine, and a welcome cocktail. Enjoy musical entertainment, special guest attendees, and after-dinner dancing. Purchase your Soundbites dinner tickets now at capellamusicfestival.com.
Welcome Welcome back to Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio. Have your say on 745-2626. Bobo FM.
And welcome back, man, to more Straight Talk with your host, Ellio Solomon, and myself, Austin Harris. And as the good lady said, the phone lines are open at 745-2626 on this otherwise open mic Friday. No guests planned in studios, but still opportunity for issues to be engaged on, either directly by us as hosts, or, of course, the option remains open to you, the listening audience. You can either kick back and listen on your drive home, or you can actively participate. Either way, we'd love to hear from you and glad to know you're there. If calling on the regular line isn't your thing, we do have a WhatsApp option. You can dial our WhatsApp number by calling 928-2562. From there, you can either leave us a WhatsApp audio note, which we will play live on air, or the traditional WhatsApp text message. Again, the first half hour normally reserved for good news when it's available, and today there's some that is available. Taking a look at the headlines, it said today that a large cash settlement was considered for the family of missing landfill worker Anna Evans. Let me say this is long overdue, but let me just read you a few snippets. According to cabinet minutes, which were released in the public domain, it shows that cabinet allocated just over $1.2 million, or $1,236,000 to be precise, to the ministry responsible for the landfill ahead of a possible out-of-court settlement. This represents a financial settlement with the family of the missing landfill worker Anna Evans, who disappeared on January 26, 2011, on the landfill site. There's obviously CCTV footage of her entering the landfill site, but none of her leaving. And of course, unfortunately, that body was never found. It has been an ongoing 14-year investigation, and according to police sources, the case still remains open. Whether her death, which is presumed to have occurred at the landfill site, was an accident or something sinister, still to this day remains a mystery. However, while this approval of funds relates to what I think the ministry is hoping to obtain a settlement claim out of court, the Grand Court cause number 20 of 2017, Dixon versus the Department of Environmental Health, relating to the family of the late Anna Evans, is still an ongoing litigation matter. So whether or not this financial claim will settle those outstanding matters, or whether or not the family will still choose to pursue it, remains to be seen. But it has been a long time coming. We do know Anna Evans' sister, the aunt of her children, have been sort of taking care of Miss Anna Evans' children since 2011. And we understand there has been government support in the past. I don't know how much government support, but certainly this just over $1.2 million will certainly be helpful to that family, and I think that's encouraging news.
Yeah, I remember that. Gee.
Yes.
Definitely sad. Sorry for the family and the friends.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's at least a step in the right direction.
No, indeed. Yesterday we also spoke about, rather glowingly I might add, about the exercise conducted by Hazard Management into the earthquake and tsunami preparedness, which took place yesterday between 10 and 11:30 a.m. in the morning. Well, there was another article in the media today suggesting that the Cayman Islands National Weather Service is also getting a jump start on the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season. According to the media report, it said, and I quote, "There's still more than 11 weeks to go before the official start of the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season, but given that storms can form well before the 1st of June, and with climate change making regional weather patterns increasingly unpredictable, local weather experts are already preparing for the season. On Monday, just past, the National Hurricane Center issued its first tropical outlook in 2025 for a disturbance in the Atlantic, and whilst that system failed to develop into anything significant, it serves as a reminder that it's never too early to be prepared, particularly in the tropics. According to the Director General of the Cayman Islands National Weather Service, Mr. John Tibbetts. He said, and I quote, "The safety of our residents remains our top priority. It's imperative that we continually evaluate the effectiveness of our systems, especially regarding the monitoring of weather patterns and the timely dissemination of information." Representatives from the Cabinet Office portfolio, including the Strategic Innovation Unit, the Cayman Islands National Weather Service, and the Department of Communications, worked on Monday on identifying gaps in the current systems and explored improvements to weather monitoring and communication strategies. The team also looked at lessons learned from last season and assessed existing procedures, updates to the operational plan and strategic initiatives, and enhancements to communication strategies for disseminating critical information were also on the agenda. So I know that's a bit of a mouthful, but at the heart of the conversation is our National Weather Service is starting to already to think about hurricane season this year, and of course their own plans and procedures when dealing with one, both before, during, and after the storm has passed. So that is encouraging. What is also, again, maybe not so encouraging, but again, a reminder to residents with that tropical system first being identified just last week, but not thankfully turning into anything. It's just a reminder to, go through your hurricane preparedness list, make sure you have it available, make sure your emergency supplies are up to date. It's never too early to start planning what you're going to do. Are you going to stay home, or are you going to go to a shelter or a friend's house? If you have pets, again, you may also want to start thinking about their welfare. If they're not with you, then who or where will they be, et cetera, et cetera.
Who offers that list of to-dos anyway?
On the checklist?
Yeah.
I think the National Hazard Management Committee, or caymanprepared.ky, is the website that we normally go to. And that website provides, again, some of the how-tos and useful information that residents and citizens may otherwise use to prepare themselves for hurricane season. So,
Gotcha.
Those are the bit of your good news for the day. I got a quick comment on WhatsApp.
We'll take it.
It says, "Good afternoon, Mr. Austin and Mr. Ellio. I would like to thank you guys for taking the time of talking about that Filipina woman who was being bullied. Respect won't cost you anything to treat someone in the right way, no matter where she or he came from, no matter what your job is. I truly appreciated your remarks. Kudos to both of you and your radio segment. Look forward to more interesting and knowledgeable topics and discussions." Well, thank you very much for those very kind remarks.
Much appreciated.
And certainly it was our pleasure. We do remember seeing it, and we both remember, on separate occasions, of course, individually, being disgusted by what we saw, and so much so to the extent that we thought we would draw attention to it.
I didn't want to be complicit in that.
No, we didn't want to be a part of those conversations in the least, and certainly on behalf of the majority of Caymanians, that is not how we feel about our foreign residents, particularly those who do have jobs, regardless of what that job may be. All jobs are important, and when a person is at work doing their duty, then they should have the assurance that they won't be, chastised, to say the least, by members of the public. Bullied was probably a better word for what took place, but nonetheless, we thank that listener for sharing those very kind compliments.
I think it just sounded a lot of, kind of racist, I suppose. Is perhaps the right word.
No, I think you're right.
I mean, at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with stern questions, statements. You can ask whatever question you want, but I think you can do whatever you have to do as respectful as possible.
Yes, no, indeed. Well, it is 57 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock, giving us just under 2 minutes before we have to pause and take a short commercial break, check in with the top of the hour news brought to you by the BBC. But then when we come back, we will kickstart our primary discussion on this Open Mic Monday which, unless I have any objections from my colleague, we'll begin with taking a look at some of the key takeaways from last night's Chamber of Commerce Candidates Forum, which took place in the constituency of Red Bay, which, as we mentioned last night, would have been a full house with at least 5 candidates scheduled to appear. So obviously a bit of information in which to share. I watched a little bit of it. There were 1 or 2 standout moments that we're going to talk about and share with the listening audience, and as always, get some feedback from them as well. But also a reminder, on Wednesday, we will be hearing from one of those candidates, Mr. Philip Ebanks, here on this program at 4:30 to 5. And again, he will be outlining what his top priorities are, both nationally and obviously, most importantly, to Red Bay constituents in the constituency of Red Bay. So we encourage you to tune in and be a part of that. We are simulcasting live, as always, on YouTube and on Instagram, and I'm delighted to say that we are now broadcasting from our own Instagram platform, having attained the necessary amount of followers. So you can find us at Straight Talk Radio Show at Instagram. Keep it locked. There will be lots more Straight Talk still to come on this Open Mic Friday, so don't even think about changing that dial. We'll be right back.
The BBC World Service, the world's radio station.
The BBC World Service makes programs with a uniquely global perspective.
Enlighten us. Where do we start?
The latest world news and current affairs.
The very best in global arts and culture.
What has been happening on the financial markets today.
Social issues, political stories.
Everything was there in a way that I never heard before.
The BBC World Service.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM.
Welcome to our newsroom here in central London. We place ourselves here at a little desk right in the thick of things.
OS from the BBC.
We can catch the very latest news from our colleagues, not just in this enormous room, but also from our colleagues around the world.
I'm in the room where they're treating children.
This is a combat zone.
The situation after the typhoon is very complicated.
It was a very tense situation.
OS from the BBC.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM.
BBC News.
BBC News.
World news from the BBC. Violent clashes.
Thick black smoke.
A tremendous legal victory.
Crucial elections.
Destructive winds.
A search and recovery operation.
A race against time.
An imminent threat.
Flying a drone over a rival team's training session.
Whatever is happening, wherever it's happening, catch up with the latest news bulletins from the BBC.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM.
For business, they say location, location, location. But really, there's no better location than right here, right now on your mobile phone or laptop. Buy and sell your pre-owned gear where the island is searching online. Buy and sell on ektrade.com. That's ektrade.com.
Across Cayman on 103.1 FM, online, and on your smart speaker. Powered by Health Services Authority. The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo 103.1.
BBC News with Sue Montgomery. Flights have resumed at London Heathrow Airport after electricity was restored to one of the world's busiest airports. Priority has been given to the return of stranded passengers. Tom Simons reports.
A very small number of flights have arrived and departed from an eerily quiet Heathrow this evening. The plan is for normal operations tomorrow. The airport's chief executive, Thomas Waldby, apologised but insisted this was an unprecedented incident in which Heathrow lost power equal to that needed for a mid-sized city. The airport has 3 electrical substations, each with a backup. The fire affected one of the 3 and its backup. But Heathrow is now facing questions about its resilience from its airline customers and the government. This evening, the police said there was no evidence of deliberate sabotage.
The countdown is on for Capella Music Festival on Saturday, March 29th at the Festival Green, Camana Bay. An unforgettable experience and non-stop entertainment presented by Cayman Airways in Camana Bay, featuring international stars Ashanti, Clean Bandit, Gramps Morgan, Kamani Marley, and Elaine, Nyla Blackman, and DJ Puffy, alongside local artists and DJs across 3 stages. Purchase at Tier 1 pricing while supplies last at CapellaMusicFestival.com or in store at Blackbeard's, AA Rubus, FIS MoneyGram, Winter Circle, Tortuga and Sings Roadie Shop, Capella Music Festival, Saturday, March 29th. A true festival experience. Brought to you by the Cayman Islands Department of Tourism, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Hopscotch Productions, Bacardi, Massive Equipment, Barreau Development, and Stingray Media. The countdown is on for Capella Music Festival on Saturday, March 29th at the Festival Green, Camana Bay. An unforgettable experience and non-stop entertainment presented by Cayman Airways and Camana Bay, featuring international stars Ashanti, Clean Bandit, Gramps Morgan, Kamani Marley, and Elaine, Nyla Blackman, and DJ Puffy, alongside local artists and DJs across 3 stages. Purchase at Tier 1 pricing while supplies last at CapellaMusicFestival.com or in-store at Blackbeard's, AA Rubus, FIS MoneyGram, Winter Circle, Tortuga, and Sings Roadie Shop. Capella Music Festival, Saturday, March 29th. A true festival experience. Brought to you by the Cayman Islands Department of Tourism, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Hopscotch Productions, Bacardi, Massive Equipment, Barreau Development, and Stingray Media.
Necessarily reflect or represent the views of Stingray Media, its staff, or contributors. Callers to the program accept full responsibility for the views expressed. The show host and affiliates are not liable for any statements made or any harm claimed. All callers to the program indemnify Straight Talk from all claims. Offensive, defamatory, or unlawful content will not be tolerated. Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Now, here's Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio on Bobo 103.1.
And welcome back, K-Man, to more Straight Talk. I'm your host, Austin Harris.
And I'm Ellio Solomon again. Welcome back here to Straight Talk. Number to call here in the studio if you're interested in joining into the conversation or taking us in a completely different direction is 745-2626. Don't know what that chuckle's all about. 945-2626. Or, of course, if you want to contact us using up some of the data, you can contact us on WhatsApp, 928-2562. That's 928-2562. And I just want to say, Austin, before you launch into your discussion.
Yes, sir.
That, I do want to discuss this whole issue of Miss Marla Ducaran. She's been doing her rounds. You know that the CPR had a meeting on the 18th of March.
Yes.
At the town hall, or now known as the Constitutional Hall.
Yes.
And then there's been bouncing on Radio Cayman. I think she was on Mar Road this morning. She was on Radio Cayman again today.
Okay.
I actually tried calling in with no success. But I do want to discuss this issue, but I want to share with the general public that I was hoping to do so today. But unfortunately, I haven't been able to get the technology organized to where I can play a couple of clips from her speech at the Constitutional Hall.
We're going to get you sorted out with that.
Yeah, and my colleague Austin's going to sort me out with it, because I think it's going to lend a lot more weight when you can hear her making the comments and then I offering my response, as opposed to me trying to tell you what she said.
Absolutely.
I think it carries and lends a lot more weight and credibility when you hear her say it, and then I tell you how much nonsense it is, and
Very
show you why those comments are not making any sense, as sensible as it may sound to some.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things that she has said. Honestly, my feelings right now, and I'm really heavy about it, because I'm sort of disappointed that you would have a professional, someone that, I've only seen her ever in the periphery.
Right.
And I saw at the Chamber of Commerce meeting, I actually gave her a hug, because I always saw her from a distance, never really direct on the radar. But there was always a level of respect that I had for the person.
You're a hugger too.
I am a hugger. That's why I don't like the sexual harassment. Like, I just hug people I don't even know them.
That's right.
Hey,
hey, how you doing?
Like the receptionist now.
Hey, how you doing?
Not calling any names.
Yes.
But the thing is that you have a respect for this person, and then you sit there and you say you've done your research. Where exactly you do this research? What data is it that you're missing that you couldn't find? But either way, I won't get on it today. I want persons to please. We're going to have a guest on Monday, so most likely it won't happen then. So we're slotting it up right now for Tuesday.
Yes.
But I don't want anyone to think that I am backing away from this issue at all. I don't care who wants to argue. You're back on that again. I'm going to be back on this, because I can't sit here and let someone, especially someone coming from somewhere else, God knows, and talking a load of nonsense. With the greatest of respect, I want to challenge a lot of what has been said. Yeah. And I couldn't even get in, because I wanted to do it today on the radio, but I wasn't allowed. Our taxpaying dollars apparently doesn't afford me that. Our taxpaying dollars was allowed to be used to propagate nonsense and to protect the person from being able to answer some proper questions. But either way, on Tuesday, I hope to have the snippets with the help of my colleague, and being able to play those statements and respond accordingly. And with that said, we shall launch into your discussion, my friend.
All right, my friend. Well, we look forward to that conversation, and we will leave Tuesday, at least the majority of it anyway, open, so that you can have that opportunity to express those views, because I know it's important to you and obviously important for those who are on the other side of this conversation.
I just want to say, I just think it is honestly, and I want people to understand, I am passionate about this, as I am with a lot of different things that I say on here, because I'm not going to take a position that I don't honestly, intellectually, and emotionally feel is correct.
Yes.
Right? I'm not going to do it. Any day you hear me saying something, that's the position.
Yeah. That's how you really feel about it.
That's how I really feel about it. And this is something that I 100% feel is the best thing for this country. And to sit there and see, according to use her words, hired gun, come here and trying to poison the minds of people and carry them in a completely different direction to potentially do something that's going to be harmful to themselves, I don't know. Can't tolerate it. Have to do something about it. Yeah. So Tuesday
indeed. And I would just simply say, to your point, I think you have, just cause to be a little annoyed. I'm a bit surprised. Certainly, Mrs. Ducaran certainly has and is a recognized economist, particularly in the region, another product from the Caribbean. But she has, until now, obviously, stayed out of political matters. And whether you like it or not, the cruise berthing facilities has been, for 20-plus years, very much a political issue. It has been a polarizing issue at the individual level. And
she is aware of that.
And it is an economic decision, one way or the other. As we oftentimes say, you can do something and get it wrong, or you can do nothing. And, well, obviously it doesn't make the problem go away, but there are costs to doing something and doing nothing at all. So this is one of those conversations. And so I will work with you, as always, and everything, but certainly in getting those clips out, because I agree with you. I think it carries much more greater transparency when we can play the comments made directly from the person who made them, and then, of course,
Respond
offer up some feedback or commentary on those remarks, so no one can say you put words in their mouth. 12 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock is the time in studios. I just wanted, in the first instance, to take a quick look at the Red Bay Candidates Forum that took place last night on the Chamber of Commerce. This was the 6th candidate forum hosted by the Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce and had 5 political hopefuls vying for the one seat in Red Bay. The panel comprised of 2 independent candidates, Mr. Philip Ebanks and Mr. Leon Gold, 1 Cayman Islands National or CINP candidate, Ms. Dawn Thomas, 1 TCCP, the Caymanian Community Party candidate, Natasha Whitelock, and, of course, 1 PPM candidate, Mr. Roy Tatum, who has basically been handed the torch and endorsed by the current incumbent of Red Bay, Sir Alden McLaughlin, who announced, certainly last time in December, but before that for a while, his intended retirement from active political movements, as the case may be, and he has certainly been true to his word. Just on some of the issues, on the issue of whether it be workforce development, all of the candidates agreed that education, training, and succession planning were crucial to foster proper development plans related to workforce development. Roy Tatum said that we needed to work to make sure that the civil service itself is rebalanced and that there's space made available for Caymanians to fill those jobs. I'm not quite sure to what extent that rebalancing needs to take place on. Perhaps maybe at the senior levels, as always, the above the glass ceiling level, but certainly the civil service has been, it is the second largest employer in the Cayman Islands. But those were Roy Tatum's comments. Natasha Whitelock spoke about her track record in training young Caymanians and noted that there could be more done by the private sector in terms of creating opportunities for locals at every level. Certainly no argument there from us. While the Cayman Islands National Party candidate, Dawn Thomas, pointed to the fact that many young Caymanians are offered scholarships but then can't find work after they complete their degrees.
We heard that.
We heard that directly from Mr. Heyman Rankin just this week when he was on, saying that, again, he came back with a master's degree and everything, and he still couldn't find work, and he was on a government scholarship, which boggles the mind, really. You would think government would have snatched that up, that kind of talent would have snatched that right up, but obviously...
Well, you're supposed to ideally sort of go away and then come back and pay your dues, if you like, right?
Yes.
So it's like, guys, I still owe you. I still owe you a certain amount of time, I think is what he was saying, and no, you're not even giving me my job.
Ms. Dawn Thomas suggested that more should be done to ensure jobs are available upon the return of students. And I just want to pause there for a moment because, again, the previous administration in which I was a part of, we started the immigration reform process by, as we've talked about in the past, splitting immigration into 2 segments, one for border control and the other for the labor force. But one of the other things we did, which we didn't get right, and that is, of course, the creation of a database. The database of all jobs and who occupies those jobs, that could be available, searchable, or otherwise, either by the ministry or other key ministries that are, involved in labor. That part has happened. What hasn't happened was creating a user-friendly version that employers could access and provide information on work permits and have that sort of process more streamlined. I think what was criticized even prior to our reform of immigration was the bureaucracy that is attached to the work permit regime. And whilst that bureaucracy largely still exists, it obviously hasn't slowed down in terms of the number of work permits that are issued every year. But specific to Ms. Dawn's point when she says that more should be done to ensure jobs are available for students upon their return, that was sort of at the soul of that reform that was started, by knowing, first, what jobs are available, secondly, who occupies those jobs, whether Caymanians or foreign nationals. If there are foreign nationals, then the system was also designed to chart the length of their term. So in other words, when their work permit was expiring, so we'd know specific timelines, and obviously if that person was a general work permit holder or perhaps a PR holder. But the point of this was to be able to arm groups like the Work Permit Board to know when certain jobs, which are presently held by foreign nationals, when those work permits are expiring on a data-driven note, and also to match that against what students may be coming back or graduating, whether it be 6 months or a year or 2 years, an opportunity to strategically plan that workforce process. So that was what was started. Again, I'm not saying we got everything right, but it is essential on the immigration front, but essential also on the workforce development front, that we start to make decisions, policy decisions, based on hard data, evidence that we can use, as opposed to what do we think, the finger in the air type thing. But I digress. Staying with the issue of workforce development, Independent Philip Ebanks identified a lack of communication between various departments tasked with work permits and labor, stating that a 6-month notice period should be put in place prior to the expiration of a work permit to allow a suitable Caymanian to be given the opportunity. So again, he's trying to suggest what can be done arguably on paper when we should have the ability to do it electronically and have the computer spit out that work. That was a comment that the then Auditor General made under, again, the previous administration in one of her reports, saying that the government, both past and present, they collect a great deal of information that is input into computer systems, but they aren't allowing technology to sort that information and use it in a meaningful way. So that's where the whole notion of, listen, let's embrace technology. Let's start making these computers do a bit more than what they're doing and move away from the traditional, notepad and writing down older model. So I think Philip is definitely on the right path with that answer.
And all that is really possible. I mean, there's nothing, out of scope there to be able to put together a system that's going to be able to have all, let's just, again, use Heyman's example, right? All these persons that are coming home, understanding where they have their knowledge or experience, all the key points, putting them in the system, and all these things can be mapped. At the end of the day, as soon as you know that there's a job filled, government can see right away, I have 1,300 people who could potentially do for that job.
Yes.
And is there a way to notify them? There's a myriad of different things you can be doing. Someone really needs to just give it some thought and then put the technology in place. And I did hear that young lady saying that, actually. I remember hearing a little piece of what she was saying about talking about employing technology in just about everything that we do.
Yes.
And definitely a step in the right direction, I think.
Well, I think Ms. Dawn Thomas from the CNP, she has a background in technology.
Okay, well, that would explain it.
Website building and whatnot. So obviously that would not surprise one that she's embracing technology. But both she and, again, Mr. Philip Ebanks seem to go down that road.
Right.
I think it's the right road. They're definitely on to something. And if either are successful at the polls, hopefully they'll, go to immigration today and find that these things are at least part of the ground framework. Whether they're fully developed or not, obviously, is the question to handle. But the good news is neither of them will have to start at square one. But again, we've seen it in previous times where a new administration comes in and automatically just scraps whatever was there before and starts off with a clean chalkboard, as the case may be. That might be easier for them to chart and follow, but oftentimes it is not easier or in the best interest of the country, because things with government always take longer than necessary in the private sector. And if you're going to discard what work has already happened, you're just creating more work for yourself.
And again, I definitely don't want to take you off track, but just to harp on the point that you're pointing at, the thing of it is that you would like to believe that we could reach the level of maturity in relation to politics, that all of these people who are running, that you can see clearly, first of all, are willing and audacious enough to stand up, courageous enough to want and put themselves on the line.
Yes.
Rather than victimize these people to help make sure you win the next election.
Correct.
Actually employ them.
Correct.
You know, and again, I don't want to say a name now because I don't want to influence anybody's mind negatively.
Right.
But you hear something a person says, or you see what they're doing, employ them when if you're successful in the election.
Yes.
And see if you can utilize those ideas to help carry the country forward and not stop the childishness, you know?
Yes. No, I absolutely agree with you. Rounding off the issue of workforce development, independent Leon Gold, I dare say, perhaps had, I guess, the more direct approach to dealing with employers who fail to give Caymanians an opportunity. He felt that companies that fail to hire Caymanians should be penalized by having either their work permits revoked, canceled, or outright denied. And again, I don't think he's necessarily wrong with that. When you make that decision, you base that decision against the letter of the law. It says no foreign national shall occupy a job where a Caymanian is readily and equally available. But we see how that is ignored and sidestepped every single day.
You know me with my job for Caymanians only, so I don't have to argue that one. Good as gold, Leon Gold.
Quite right. On healthcare affordability, again, all of the candidates largely agreed that an aging population coupled with chronic non-communicable diseases continues to be a driving factor increasing healthcare costs, but basically differed fundamentally on what approach should be taken. I think Natasha Whitelock stood out on this particular topic when she made the bold statement suggesting that regulating healthcare providers could become the necessary next step. Certainly, setting herself apart from her 4 other potential candidate hopefuls. Sustainable economic growth. When addressing the need for foreign investment that benefits Caymanians, Don Thomas from the CINP said, foreign direct investment often promotes development that is not sustainable nor a direct benefit to Caymanians, and she has called for a more balanced approach toward foreign direct investment, whereas Natasha Whitelock noted that foreign investment often results in Caymanians being disadvantaged as investors normally take opportunities from Caymanians by way of purchasing property and therefore making those properties unattainable for the Caymanian pocketbook. Again, not an incorrect statement. Roy Tatum noted that foreign investment was essential, but did go on to identify loopholes that allow investors to develop large-scale ventures that oftentimes seek to exclude Caymanians who cannot afford to buy in, claiming that it was a matter that he would seek to end if elected. Leon Gold's stance was that foreign direct investment was beneficial, and he believed that it would lead to trickle-down, or it would have a trickle-down effect, not just for Caymanians, but Caymanian businesses as well, whilst Philip Ebanks called for a proper oversight on those investments to ensure that Caymanians otherwise directly benefit. So again, some varying viewpoints on what the candidates think would take us in the direction of sustainable economic growth, but all of which, at least certainly worthy of consideration and further discussion. Now for some standout moments. Throughout the forum, each of the other candidates, with the exception of the PPM, you'll understand why, each of the other 4 candidates, some maybe more subtle with their remarks than others, took jabs at the PPM leadership and its hold on the Red Bay district, calling on voters to make a shift from the PPM altogether. Natasha Whitelock said that although there are all new people here tonight, we don't all have new ideas. Some of us have the same old ideas, just repackaged. So again, making a subtle jab in the direction of the red team. Philip Ebanks, perhaps little less subtle. He said he's gone to homes, visited people in Red Bay, and they all say the same thing. The former representative, obviously referring to Sir Alden, is never there, but that's not true. He went on to say, I think he might even have seen him once or twice. And Philip Ebanks is also obviously living in Red Bay. So on the one hand, he offered a side swipe, but by the same token on the way back, he just smoothed the cheek over saying, I didn't mean that, right?
I put a Band-Aid on it.
Put a Band-Aid. Here you go, help you out. Don Thomas, meanwhile, from the CNP, added that what we are bringing to the table is solutions, new ideas, and new people that are willing to pave the way forward, obviously echoing what it's not just this election cycle, but election cycles of the past. Everybody's, breaks out the broom. What we need to do is sweep out the old and bring in the new. I guess the belief that new folks, fresh set of eyes, is the answer. Hey, maybe it is. Leon Gold went on to say, every 4 years we get the same lip service and fake promises. It's time for a change. Again, not mincing words, but calling it as he and they all saw it. Now, all of these people picking on my good friend Roy Tatum, but Roy Tatum not to be, allow himself to get knocked out in the corner. He did respond, saying that not only can Sir Alden fight his own battles, and we all know he's very capable of doing so, but he did point out that under the PPM leadership, the country paid down half of its debt, putting us in a much more comfortable fiscal position. It reduced unemployment from a record high of 11% to 5% and got us through COVID. So, some may quote unquote question what the point is to what we do here. In this case, Roy Tatum simply let the facts speak for themselves. He said the truth stands on its own merit. You can criticize me and the red team, like the color I'm wearing, you don't like, I didn't knock on your door enough, maybe I spent too much time in the bar room and not enough time in the homes. But in any case, the facts speak for themselves, and this is what, in his view, were the facts and how he offered up his rebuttal. So there you go. That was an overview of last night's Chamber Forum, which was featured in Red Bay, and I'm just now looking to see when the next one is, which I'll tell you in less than 30 seconds. Here we go. So yesterday was the 21st, so the next one on tonight will be in Bordentown East. And in Bordentown East, who do we have? Well, again, give me another 10 seconds, and I will tell you who we have in Bordentown East.
Robert Bawden.
I think you might be right.
John.
Let's see. Bordentown East, you are, Bordentown East, we have, Dwayne John Seymour, the incumbent running for the PPM, and Mr. Robert Bawden, the political candidate for the TCCP team. And that looks like it's a heads-up battle. There are no other challengers, debaters. So
makes it easy.
Does make it easier. And certainly should make it easier time management-wise.
Although the voters might say, I don't know if I like the options, but either way. I'm just saying. Just saying, because that's always an argument, right? I want more options. I don't like what I'm seeing here.
Yes.
Not that that's the case here.
Right.
But in terms of just easy, then 2 is always easy.
2 is always easy, indeed. So that's the plan for tonight. So if you're not out enjoying otherwise getting your weekend kick-started early, you can definitely check out tonight's chamber debate, which moves to Bordentown East. And it will be a 2-candidate debate, as my colleague pointed out, which should therefore make it pretty interesting. But yeah, so that's what we have there. We have about a minute 30 seconds before we have to. Well, actually, no, we don't have a minute 30 seconds. We have before we move on to the next subject. Might I suggest at 31 minutes past the hour, 5 o'clock, that we pause and take a very short commercial break, and then we come back. Some interesting movements in the field of air travel, in particular, those persons hoping to catch the British Airways flight out of Cayman tonight. When we come back, we'll share some details on why that flight is not going to happen. Keep it locked. There'll be more Straight Talk with Ellio Solomon, myself, Austin Harris, right here, only on Bobo 103.1 FM.
More Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio coming up. Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Bobo FM.
Hey man, could it be you? Tortuga's 10K giveaway is back, and someone's walking away with $10,000 in cash. Every time you spend $25 at Tortuga Fine Wine and Spirits or discount liquors, in-store or online at tortuga.ky, you get a shot at winning big. As well as $10,000 in cash, we've got thousands in giveaways to hand out every week. Think staycations, the latest iPhones, exclusive experiences, and more. Get in to win. Visit tortuga.ky for the full terms and conditions.
The countdown is on for Capella Music Festival on Saturday, March 29th at the Festival Green, Camana Bay. An unforgettable experience and non-stop entertainment presented by Cayman Airways and Camana Bay, featuring international stars Ashanti, Clean Bandit, Gramps Morgan, Kamani Marley, and Elaine, Nyla Blackman, and DJ Puffy, alongside local artists and DJs across 3 stages. Purchase at Tier 1 pricing while supplies last at CapellaMusicFestival.com or in store at Blackbeard's, AA Rubis, FIS MoneyGram, Winter Circle, Tortuga, and Sings Roadie Shop. Capella Music Festival, Saturday, March 29th. A true festival experience. Brought to you by the Cayman Islands Department of Tourism, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Hopscotch Productions, Bacardi, Massive Equipment, Barreau Development, and Stingray Media.
Welcome back to Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio. Have your say on 745-2626. Bobo FM.
And welcome back, Cayman, to more Straight Talk here on Bobo 103.1 FM on your radio dial and simulcast live online on YouTube at Straight Talk Radio Show and also on Instagram at the same username, Straight Talk Radio Show, if you're searching for it. And yes, soon to be on the Facebook platform as well.
Can't wait.
Can't wait, indeed. 745-2626 is the number on the hard line, or, of course, the WhatsApp line, 928-2562 is the number. And, my dear friend Ellio, looks like we have 2 such opportunities on the WhatsApp audio note. Let's take the first one now.
Coolio.
Good evening, Austin and Ellio. The problem in Cayman with immigration, all of us know that it is not about how to do it. It is a lack of political will to do something about it. And that lack of political will comes from a certain something which has to be dealt with. Let me run through very quickly in 1 minute what needs to be done just by way of summarizing what people have said. Introduce rollover in government. Make government subject to the work permit process. Amend Section 6 of the immigration regulations to ensure that it is changed from may to shall. Amend Section 26 and 41 of the PSM Act, Public Service Management Act, so that a Caymanian who qualifies for a job should get the job even if there's a foreigner who is more qualified. Jobs for Caymanians. PR status only for and status only for marriage, through marriage and through descent. Also, there are no legalities really that you need to worry about. Discrimination on the basis of employment is allowed between foreigners and locals under the Constitution. If you do a moratorium, it can be legally effective, but only if you do it by legislation. The courts have already said that. Then there's an assertion very often to say, well, but you see, we might violate European Convention on Human Rights provisions. I don't think you can, because under Article 73 of the UN Charter, the interests of the local people are paramount. Also, there's a right to self-determination of local people. Also, when somebody gets a BOTC and British citizenship, the obligations under the EU have been met because that person can go to the UK and work from there. Also, the European Convention on Human Rights, you can always argue that it must be applied with the special modalities that apply to a vulnerable society. Finally, on transitional provisions, when you make legislation, you can actually say that all those people in Cayman who are there today haven't applied. The new legislation will apply to them. And if you want to be draconian, although I wouldn't advise it, you can even make it clear that even pending applications will be subject to new rules if you want to do that, because technically, legally, you can. But so long as you make it clear, it will stand up in a court of law. If the people want to change immigration legislation, this is what they need to do, rather than talking this nonsense, which they are telling people that, well, this and that can't be done. That's my view. Thank you.
No, absolutely. Thank you very much for those comments as well. And I want to point out one of the statements he just made that I didn't know about, but I'd certainly, it certainly changes my viewpoint on, how we should, afford Cayman status, permanent residence, and whatnot. He just stated that, whether it be the courts or otherwise, it's not discriminatory to exclude, labor as a means in which to give PR status too. If you're working here and you elevated yourself from work permit status, you can get maybe PR, but that's as far as you can or should go. We shouldn't be awarding status based on just your work tenure. Certainly suggesting that status naturalization should only go to persons vis-a-vis marriage, which, again, prior to that remark, I thought perhaps, fell short on the whole discrimination aspect of things. But certainly what he said there, I'm hearing for the first time. And if he hasn't said it for the first time, then, I got to ask myself, where have I been? But I thought those were some very interesting remarks in that direction. Because look at it this way. And again, this is a larger conversation that obviously we'd be willing to have. But when we look at population growth, there is a thing called critical mass. And we have seen, well, whilst Bermuda is considered to be in our region, it's really not. But Bermuda is the size of Cayman Brac with 85,000+ people living on it. What does that mean for Bermudians or the land mass? And on the subject of critical mass, you cannot buy a square foot of new property horizontally. You want a new property? You got to go up. So second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth floor. That's where, the new real estate markets are. They're going towards the sky. I can't imagine what traffic must be like in Bermuda. But in the Cayman Islands context, we have witnessed in a very short time 40% population growth from where we were a few years ago at 63,000 people to now the last census, almost 85,000 people. There are folks out there running around with population 100,000. But we look at the problems we have today, the congestion, the overdevelopment that makes you, of course, for lack of a better word, develop every square inch. And we see how that impacts daily life. The workforce development, opportunities for jobs so that we can make sure that as the population grows, there are sustainable opportunities for our own people. Listen, it's long overdue that we have this type of conversation, if for any other reason, on the basis of population growth. Because how much can we sustain as a country, a small country even? Thoughts?
No, well, first of all, I want to say I agree with him on a lot of things that he has said, and he always adds a lot of value to the discussion. But I want to pick up on the fact that he's basically saying that it's not that we don't know what to do. We don't arguably have the leadership that has the cojones to do it. Mm-hmm. And I want to just again share the story. And some may say I'm just touting my horn. I'm not. Trust me. I don't have time and care to tout my horn. I've given you the facts. I wish I could say it with someone else. It would make me happier. But when I brought this Jobs for Caymanians Only, never forget, you have a couple of issues. One is you didn't have as usual, you didn't have the support. It was the same thing in relation to the pension with your own party, because there seems to be a problem with Caymanians or Caymanian leadership doing anything for their own people. Because I was specifically told, for example, in the pension, well, if you do it for everyone, this means everyone means foreigners.
Yes.
Well, then we'll support that. I said, no. I want it for Caymanians only. Right. If there's a run on property to be able to buy this and buy that, I want the Caymanians to be doing that, not the foreign nationals.
Indeed.
And again, we got a call?
Yeah, we do have a call on the line. Nope, they didn't stick around long enough.
They don't have the ability to do something for Caymanians. And I'll never forget, the moment it's published.
Hang on. The caller is back.
Go.
Give the caller priority. Good evening, caller. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Austin.
Good afternoon, sir.
I hope all is well, Dr. Keith. Thanks, like I said. The journalist was, he's always on point when he comes to, to making his statements. And I can certainly agree, like you guys do as well, that, it boils down to the individual elected representatives. Some of them have a total different agenda from what the electors put them in there to do, right? Mm-hmm. They may go in there with a yes, and then when they get there, you're now in power and you obviously are in charge, so you now can put the flight in a different direction than what you were told. So your log changes. And that's what we're seeing right now, because, not right now, but we've been seeing all this while, is that some individuals, elected individuals, their intention is to see population growth. And they can't wait for me and you to make enough babies, right? And of course, you can't afford to make too many either, there's a limit on that, especially going to care for them.
Yep.
But yeah, so, we certainly have to agree on that, that something has to be done. And I think that should really be almost like the number one topic right now. I could change in a second, but that should be the number one topic right now, I think, on the campaign thing, because how are you going to fix all these other problems that you're promising if you can't control one of your major problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have a problem with the whole population meaning growing as people in the country. I don't have a problem with that. If you want to take it up to 200,000 and keep developing certain areas, that's all great. But making new Caymanians is what I have the problem with, you know? So what the people should be making new Caymanians is Caymanians. Simple as that. And whether me or you are married to a foreign national, in case, in the case of women, they give their husbands a right. In our case, we give our wives the right to be just as equal as us to some extent. It's fair that way. I mean, we can't have 2 and 3 wives all at the same time, so we're not going to go too fast with that process of populating our island. Yeah. But again, those should be the things that it's based on. Right now we've even gone out of control with this thing about your relatives, because people come in here and we're not even sure if that was your grandfather. Did you take him out the grave to get the DNA to tie this all back together, or is just birth certificate paperwork saying all this? You know what I mean? So we have an issue with compliance as well. We're not sure exactly, what people are doing here. They're going through everything they need to do, and who's checking it. They're checking it properly. And our population growth really needs to be controlled. I don't have a problem with permits, like I say, making money off of these people. But making them become us and take our birthrights and take real opportunities really becomes a problem at that point. Because once you're on a permit, you're not really taking it. You're going to rent from me and so on forever. But to come off the topic, I'm a candidate listener to your show. I mean, name down my boat engine room, and I can't touch the floor. I got you guys on campus, and just got to listen.
Right.
So, try to be a good listener, and I know this morning on the show, not on your particular talk show, but another talk show, I think Ellio, you were taking some licks for your support of the Cruz Burton facility.
Oh, I didn't know I was taking licks.
No, well, they were throwing them at you. I'm not going to receive them. So people can punch, but I don't know that you're my apologies. So, but they were throwing punches at you. Let's say that word.
Oh yeah, what it was saying, I didn't hear it.
Well, I don't want to quote. I prefer you go back.
Oh, okay.
Right, but at the same time, some people do have a full understanding about tourism product, right? And it's easy to talk from the outside, but when you are fully involved in every dollar that counts, you actually involved, know where it's coming from, you start to see where all the problems are. Sure. I mean, people talking about the value of the stayover customer. If you're in the water sports business, most of the stayover customers, right? There's one particular company, and it's not because the government gave them the, but I guess it's just because they have a high standard of doing business and they have a great reputation, but they have had the opportunity to occupy every single hotel in Cayman or every major hotel in Cayman. So when you go on that beach, it's their boats, their wave runners out there in that facility. The clothing shop inside belongs to them, and them in the hotel, I guess, shares the kind of profit.
It's because they were on committees and boards long time before, when you were a little boy. That's why.
Well, yeah, when I was there, being the mate of the boat instead of the captain and running the business.
Yeah.
But, time has come now to get rid of all that kind of stuff too and make more opportunity. I mean, it's the same thing if we start arguing about the tenders taking people off the boat. Why isn't there more than one company doing it? Well, I guess it'll probably cause, quality to drop maybe. But at the same time, those are areas that I think the government should own. All of those tenders, in my opinion, they should be government boats. All these permanent buses on our road, they should be owned by the government. You know what I'm saying? And they all tie in together. You have your repair shop for your marine. It's all done properly and it's all managed properly. When you go on everybody up there, and I'm not saying that with a tender boat, because I think they do a great job in maintaining their equipment and all their businesses. I mean, you got to come with some high standard, to compete, I guess. But when you look at things like the omnibus system, obviously we're seeing that the bus quality is not really as good as we would like. But certain areas need to be managed, and not only from that. I mean, the water sports business, I was loving, a lot of tourism side of it, where you have all these people coming in, especially from the pre-book side of things, right? Government set up, the co-op or whatever they call it, and allow them to go out and get contracts on the cruise ships and so forth to get business going. But what sense does it make that at the end of the day, if government going to give these people $500,000 every year to pay for their insurance for their boats, run their administrative office, right? And you're not going to get any further involved to say to the cruise ship that they got contracts with, what kind of rubbish this is giving Ellio a contract where, you're selling a ticket for $100 and he's getting $40, when he's the one that needs the $60 in order to maintain the equipment and so forth. You know what I mean? And if we're talking about something that government is funding, so you should have an interest in how the contracts are being handled as well, But again, like I said, that's the same thing. Like you and I will table a bill. We'll get some support. We'll get it passed. We hand it over to the deputy governor and the civil service to take care of it. And then somebody rubs their chin and says, we don't let me Dominic going away. We can put a stop to this right now. The plan takes long. The plan turns out different. On and on it goes. But what causes that is Ellio, Dominic, and Austin, they would have their scouts, their little men sticking behind the civil servants and the individual boards to see what's going on and keep a control, Yeah. It ain't happening, especially when you're taking on a lot of portfolios. But like I said, I just wanted to say that call in his statement that was made on point. But again, my view, is we need to stop making new Caymanians. It's not about getting new permits and more permits about that. That's not even the big problem here, in my opinion. Right? We got a new hotel, a couple of new hotels, especially getting ready to open. We know we're going to need another 5,000-6,000 people by the end of the day. So that's opportunity for Caymanians coming out of school. Like, yes, don't look forward to a buying job. They're trying to get rid of their tellers and go fully automated with AI. I know the other night, Mr. McKeever Bush, when he had his launch party, he had mentioned in there that one of the things that he would like, obviously he's been there a long time and been fighting for the people, but he's claiming that, one of the bills that he'd like to table is put some law in place where banks don't have their call centers anymore outside of Cayman. You guys, as well as myself, can remember places like, the telecommunication company back then had a big old switchboard full of people outside there. And we allow these people to have call centers to service us Caymanians, but the call goes all over the world to finance these other people on a cheaper expense. And instead of forcing the hand to say, look, you guys charging our people a lot of interest on all these other charges, and although you charge them no more, but you're getting ready front line tellers, let's put back some call centers, etc. I think that's what he was really saying, so, give more job opportunities, especially in the banking area, which is fully going AI, and you can see the front line teams. Those people now, you're on a job, you're switching over to tourism now get more people, it just goes on and on, so we can't allow these places to force our hand. We got to be, proactive, and every way that they do something, we do something back in order to keep the balance going. Indeed. But again, gentlemen, I appreciate you allowing me the time on the radio. I hope you guys have a safe Friday evening and a wonderful weekend, and Roger Monday again.
Thank you, sir. Likewise to you. Thank you for taking the time and for sharing those views with us at 745-2626. Ellio, I interrupted you twice for the benefit of the phone lines.
How much time we have now?
Well, you have 9 minutes. I hope you won't take all 9 minutes to say what you got to say.
Hey, listen, I was a member of Parliament. We had 2 hours.
Yeah, well.
I won't take 2 hours. Again, let me just say, first of all, to the caller respond, I agree in large part with everything he said, but I want to stress permits are equally important, okay? And it is equally important because, let's just say, if I allow you to be, no one else can be Caymanian, but you don't have an opportunity to get a job. That doesn't help. Okay, so you need to have a balance. You have to look at this as this is your family unit, and yes, there's going to be people that are coming to your house. Someone's going to cook. Maybe you're going to cook for you. Someone's going to do your gardening. Whatever it is, that's fine.
Right.
But what has to be fundamentally clear is that you have to have the ownership of the property. Okay, and that ownership can be taken away from you in many different ways. The Indians in America are the owners too, and they put them on a reservation.
Yeah.
Okay, so you need to have a bit of a balance, and this is why when I brought the jobs for Caymanians, well, I want people to understand, regardless if you even want to agree with it or not. I'm tired of making that argument, but just really think about it. That's in the law since 2013, and not one administration since 2013 felt it necessary to determine that, I don't know, a receptionist should be a job for Caymanians. I'll tell you, you should start with the media. The media is completely controlled by foreigners. Your diet of consumption right now is completely whatever they give you to have. You eat this. And this is why, again, you're even having the challenge that you're having with Cruz, because, again, they don't sit and have tea with you and I, Austin. They're sitting and having tea with one of their own. All right? And they're part of the retirement group. I don't want any more. I just want to see nice, fresh breeze, and I don't want to see people moving around.
That's right. I already got my piece of the paradise.
Yeah, and understand, if they could stop you from driving through their neighborhoods, they'd stop that too, because that's also ruining their retirement. So the bottom line is that you have persons, back to the point that was made by Mr. Simamba, is that you are in a position right now where elected officials do not have the cojones, to put it nicely, doesn't have the will, the intestinal fortitude to do anything of real substance for Caymanians, because they have no cojones. I really want to say another word.
The huevos.
Yeah. I'll even like huevos. Sounds stronger. No,
Yes.
no, huevos, right?
Huevos.
To even get up and do something for Caymanians. And I really want Caymanians to understand this. On the books since 2013, an amendment in immigration law allows them to be able to say this job, garbage man, president of the bank, whatever it is for Caymanians only.
Yes.
And I want you to understand, 13, and it is now 2025. Not one person that I'm even aware of has stand up and say, I'm calling for this while I'm in Parliament. And these are the same people saying to you, hey, elect me because I'm for you. I'm for Caymanians. Nonsense. Complete rubbish.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Indeed. 928-2562 is the WhatsApp number, and we do have another audio note to share. Let's go to the listening audience.
Well, Austin and Ellio, thanks for being faithful in keeping this program going. In regard to the job situation for our Caymanian people, no, don't you think it's time that we call a spade and stop pats of footing around this? Caymanians are living under apartheid, okay? You know, we know that South Africa, the blacks there were living under apartheid for quite a long time. They had a system where people were kept black people were kept apart from white people as far as enjoying the social economic benefits of life there. Caymanians are being oppressed by this same demon of apartheid. In their case, they had racial and political. They had a racist, political, and social system that enforced racial discrimination. We have our share of racism in Cayman, but it's not to the degree that they have in the United States, or even what South Africa was. However, our people have been living under apartheid, and it's time we recognize it and call a spade, okay? If our people cannot work and they are denied jobs in their own country, they're living under apartheid. And I think that it is an absolute disgrace that we call ourselves a tourism destination, with banking and tourism being, our main industries. And our people are not on those front lines. Everybody else is, but not our people. Okay, it's time for us to elect people, oust people that are not doing anything about this atrocity, and put people in that have proven to be people that have already made a difference in their community. You cannot elect people who have never said anything about anything. They've always kept their mouth shut. You think they're going to open it once they get elected? No. You need people that are movers and shakers. Somebody that can move something from here and put it over there. That's what you need, is the movers and shakers. Okay, how did they perform when they were in their job, when they were in their government jobs? Were they a yes man or a yes woman? Did they fight for anybody? Did they fight for anything at all? Are they a fighter, or are they somebody that just rolls over and plays dead? A yes man and a yes woman. We don't need those type of people in office. Okay? So if we can identify people that are movers and shakers, those are the ones you need to elect. Somebody who don't want to rock the boat. They're afraid to sneeze. They're afraid to cough. They're scared to use the bathroom. You don't need to elect those type of people. You need a mover and a shaker to deliver our people.
All right. Well, we thank that listener for sharing her thoughts as well on the issues that obtain, and we encourage others to do likewise. We do have a WhatsApp traditional text message going back to the Marla Dukaran remarks. It says, "Good evening, Austin and Ellio. Just two very quick points. I am very puzzled why Marla Dukaran would come into our country and talk so one-sided and without allowing candid, open discussion with ACT. Please note that I know for a fact that ACT tried to reach out to her via telephone in order to have an open conversation, and she did not respond. My second point is, during the Chamber Red Bay meeting last night, I took great interest in the fact that only one of the Red Bay candidates considered the cruise berthing enhancement to be a major development project that requires top-tier attention, and that was Natasha Whitelock. I didn't hear that part. Well done, Miss Whitelock. And I'm grateful that she did so, but I am puzzled because she is part of the Caymanian Community Party, or TCCP, and Wayne Panton clearly articulated publicly at the chamber meeting as well that he does not support the peers. Not sure how to take this. Maybe you can share your feelings on this. Thank you for all you gentlemen are doing. Well, with 1 minute left remaining, and I'm going to give it mostly to Ellio, certainly Wayne Panton, when we had the Savannah, the Newlands debate, he articulated that he was taking the position against it, and he alluded to the notion that his whole group was of that same. Yeah, go ahead, 54 seconds.
Well, I mean, my understanding is that he stated that, his colleagues are against it also. So I think whoever is not necessarily aligned with that position should definitely speak up. That's what I would encourage. And again, I just have to say, I am very, very disappointed in Dukaran, and I'm disappointed with the media as well that doesn't offer you an opportunity to be able to hold her to account by asking the relevant questions. But that lady was not looking information because she never reached out to ACT. She talked about a lack of data in certain things like, Caymanians could be hurting, but I can't find the data. Let me just make something clear to you.
15 seconds.
Just because you can't find a piece of paper doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Right. Keep it locked. There'll be more Straight Talk still to come right here on Bobo 103.1 FM.
Bobo FM.
The countdown is on for Capella Music Festival on Saturday, March 29th at the Festival Green, Camana Bay. An unforgettable experience and non-stop entertainment presented by Cayman Airways and Camana Bay, featuring international stars Ashanti, Clean Bandit, Gramps Morgan, Kamani Marley, and Elaine, Nyla Blackman, and DJ Puffy, alongside local artists and DJs across 3 stages. Purchase at Tier 1 pricing while supplies last at CapellaMusicFestival.com or in-store at Blackbeard's, AA Rubis, FIS MoneyGram, Winter Circle, Tortuga, and Sing's Roadie Shop. Capella Music Festival, Saturday, March 29th. A true festival experience. Brought to you by the Cayman Islands Department of Tourism, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Hopscotch Productions, Bacardi, Massive Equipment, Barreau Development, and Stingray Media.
Here's Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio on Bobo 103.1.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Straight Talk with your host, Austin Harris, and myself, Ellio Solomon. The number to call here in the studio is 745-2626. Again, that's 745-2626, or you can WhatsApp us, either voice or text 928-2562. That's 928-2562. And again, I just wanted to close off my thoughts, one on this immigration matter. And I just have to stress, I'll tell you a story. I think I can say this publicly because I did it publicly in relation to a company I had, Vision. Mm-hmm. I did an interview with Mr. Woody Foster. Mr. Woody Foster, and I hope I quote him right, but he basically said when his dad was going to pass away, his dad would have said to him, you know, and I'm paraphrasing, but sure, this is the direction. What I want you need to run Foster's. You're not going to know everything, but I have had 4 or 5 guys that's worked with me for a long time. They know the business, the ins and outs. You lead and just take good advice. Mm-hmm. But you're the decision maker.
Right.
All right? And I say that because that's the proper way, as far as I'm concerned, to run a family, to run a business. And it's the way you should run the country. There's a reason why you don't bring someone from some other country and say, here, we don't want to appoint you member of parliament. There's a reason why you do that. Mm-hmm. People are going to, and I'm not even going to beat up on those persons. People are going to do whatever is in their best interest. Mm-hmm. And this is why when I did the Jobs for Caymanians Only, you're going to have the Compass who puts an editorial bashing the hell out of it.
Right.
Because it's not in their interest.
Right.
Oh, but I bet you if I had said something like, you know, all journalists should be giving a lifetime in perpetuity work permit, we'd have got a lot of good comments. And can I blame them? Absolutely not. So I'm going to just tell you, as they say, it's the hand that rocked the cradle that rules the world. Well, you just make sure you know who's rocking the cradle in your house. Make sure you know who's feeding the information to your kids in school. Mm-hmm. And make sure you know who's feeding you information in your newspapers, who you're getting it from. And I can tell you in Cayman, you definitely need to be very critical in your thinking. And I want to thank my colleague for mentioning that somebody was beating me up on Mile Road. I'm sorry I missed it. Mm-hmm. It would be appreciated if you're going to flog me. You know, give me a text or a call. At least that way I could listen.
Right.
You know, there's nothing worse than flogging people and they know absolutely nothing about it.
Exactly. Where's the personal satisfaction?
Where's
think, you know, that person is listening and is now contemplating suicide.
And if you beat people behind their backs, you're probably in the category of being a coward, you know. Right. So, you know, give me a text. Give me a text, 923-6844. Text me the next time that you intend to flog me. But as I've said, for those who might just be joining us, or, you know, just to make sure you don't forget, I want to deal with this good lady, Ms. Dukaran, because I wasn't allowed to today. Mm-hmm. Radio Cayman wouldn't let me in, despite the taxpaying dollars that we spend. But a lot of things that this lady is saying, like I said, it's very disappointing what I heard, because to me, as a professional, I would have expected different comments. I would have expected more balance. And when you can come to the country and say that, oh, there's certain information that I'm missing. You know, I'm not sure if there's businesses that have closed, or I'm not sure if there are people who are suffering. Well, hold on a minute. You seem to know that this is a big political divide, how long it's been going on, but you don't reach out to ACT, but you're a professional. You're a person who's doing professional research, and you don't reach out to the opposing organization on the referendum. I don't know. If you call that balance, ladies and gentlemen, you need to go back to school. That is not balance. That is not good research. That's poor research. And there's a load of other nonsense that this lady has chatted about. And as I've said before, and I'll say it again, I wanted to discuss it today, but I want to be able to get some little snippets of the comments live on the radio so you can hear her say it. It's going to carry much more gravity when she says it, and I'm able to show you the complete, absolute nonsense in some of these things, to say the least. So either way, wanted to plug that and get back to it again. And it'll be on Tuesday, hopefully.
We're going to fix you up, and we'll make sure.
I know you're going to set me up.
You're going to have what it is that you want and you need to
trust
have
me.
this conversation.
I'm ready to go, you know.
Yeah, I can tell.
I'm ready to go.
I'm disappointed that we couldn't make it happen today. But it wasn't for lack of trying. But we will sort you out, and I'll have the whole weekend to do it. I won't need the whole weekend to do it, but I certainly needed more leeway, lead time than I had today.
I know you can get that done quick o'clock.
But we'll sort it out for you. And again, Tuesday, we don't have any guests on the agenda, and certainly we will carve out at least an hour, maybe even an hour and a half for you.
But I want to stress, it's the CPR modus operandi, ladies and gentlemen. Again, say what you want to say. It is clear that they do not want dialogue. I want to stress that ACT invited CPR to meet to discuss this issue. I have said to you that I applaud what the Chamber of Commerce is doing insofar as the candidates. Why do I applaud it? I applaud it because you as a voter going to vote in this referendum, going to vote in this election, should be able to have an opportunity to see all of your candidates at the table, hear them responding to the same question, hear their answers, how they're answering, etc., to be able to make a very good informed decision. So tell me why you deserve anything less when it comes to the referendum. Why should the media house allow one group to say something and then six days later, the next group, by then you've forgotten it, put them all together at the table? So that when one says the vote is red, the other one can respond blue. You can ask both to present their facts.
Indeed.
And to me, to not do that is at the minimum irresponsible. And that's what's happening in the country right now. And CPR has been invited by ACT. They've refused. I think, in fairness to Mara Road, I think they even pushed out something saying, can we have a dialogue? That didn't happen. Again, this lady, Marla Dukaran, is saying that she wants dialogue, but she's the furthest thing from dialogue because she hasn't reached out to ACT, I can assure you. So there's been at least 4 invitations for CPR to do it, but they can't do it, ladies and gentlemen. Cowards hide behind the bushes, pelt stones, and are afraid to deal with anything head on. Going straight to the phone lines. Go ahead, caller, you're on the air.
Good afternoon. I just wanted to say that I went to the rally. Am I on the air now?
You are on the air.
Yeah, when I went to the rally, I thought that, it was for a place to be able to actually, give our opinions, ask questions, that kind of thing, to have a conversation. But it seems that we're only allowed to have a question if it was just 1 minute long. And, I needed to, introduce myself, tell them, that I'm part of the tour operation, that's on, the dock. And, I have a bus, and I would like to, let them know that I've been working there for 36 years, and that I am Caymanian, but it wasn't like I had enough time to talk. And then once I started to have, a discussion of where did this data come from and where, did she spew it, because it must have came from the mist, because if you see that video, you will hear my voice, but you cannot see who I am. And a lot of people were upset that I asked that question, because she must have been, a doctorate of economics. But even so, where would you get that information in 30 days? And so she just basically said, ESO. I said, but why didn't you come and talk to the people who are in the business for many, many years, not just taxi, buses, boats, stores, shops, the Turtle Center, wherever, and not have that conversation with them if you're going to actually create this data for the island, because that's where they're going with this, and I just couldn't believe it. Michelle, like, you need to stop. And then I had a lady was saying to me, you need to be quiet. You need to be quiet. And I'm going like, what do you mean I need to be quiet?
Yeah.
I can't ask a question.
They don't want that.
No, and they just kept on rattling on. And I stayed till about when I got to Mario, who wanted to tell me about, I didn't know what I was talking about, and that he knew more about the cruise ship dock. And then my blood pressure started to boil, and I was getting, mad and stuff. So I said, you know what, when you are ready to talk about the cruise ship docking facilities and meet the people who are involved in this business, then you come down to the dock and then we'll have that chat. Because I couldn't even answer him back either. It was like, I felt like I was in a communist country where you can't chat because, somebody may hit you with a stick or something. It was really, really upsetting to me that they were carrying on like this. And I mentioned to them, I said, you have a whole entire group, ACT, that wants to talk to CPR, and you all don't even want to have a discussion. All you want to do is just spew out all this stuff because you don't want change. and you really are against the cruise ship, dock.
Yep.
But you're sitting there talking about how many cars and how many people. Population is 85,000 people now.
Yep.
We're talking 6,000 people a ship. We're having 2 big ships if we get lucky.
Yeah.
But the whole entire clientele was telling us, I said, those new ships like Iconic of the Seas can go up as high as $100,000 per ticket. And they all started laughing, and I'm going, you obviously don't know anything about this business. And you're spewing this stuff all over Cayman, trying to tell them, like, you don't know.
Right.
Ask, have a conversation. And then, it just got worse and worse while I sat there. I mean, I just couldn't believe this. Really don't. I hope that we're able to get some more people that will actually come online. Yeah. I did like that Chamber of Commerce event that you were in, Ellio, along with Troy Leacock and then Tammy Sullivan and then Kenneth Bryan. I was like, oh, thank God my blood pressure went down. I couldn't. I was like, my God, everybody has gone mad, And then when I heard the applause from all of the Chamber of Commerce members, and I was going like, well, at least they got common sense, Because what are you going to do with the cargo dock? The cargo dock is spewing all kinds of metals and oils and stuff all over the ground. People are walking up from the Royal Watler North Terminal and then coming into Royal Watler, and they're walking through oil. There's no place for people to stand up under the sun, out of the rain. Old people, no place to sit. The place needs to have something done, not only there, but also in Spots Dock.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing just this week when they had at least a couple of ships at Spots, and it was one of those really hot days as well.
Yeah, they had well, I have to say 1 ship and a half, because that small German ship, had an issue, so they came here and we were able to to facilitate them, but the other ship was out there and we didn't do any business with them, because that area is really too narrow, too small. That little dock there should be widened and taken right straight out the barrier reef and then made into a T where, more tenders could come off, then people can walk in and walk out in enough space. But again, I mean, you have people that are in wheelchairs and walkers. How do you want them to walk from where?
Yeah.
From the Royal Watler all the way out to, to the end of where Hard Rock Cafe and Guy Harvey's restaurant. Yeah. I mean, these people are not going to be able to do that.
Right.
Mario is sitting there and he says, well, it's unfair. Because you got people that, we're not getting no business all the way up there by Boilers Road. I'm going, what are you talking about? They can't walk that far. You have somebody that can pick them up from the North Terminal and give them a little ride down in a trolley or something to that area. That would be nice. That thing that what Camana Bay has, it picks you up in the parking lot. It's an air-conditioned, stretched, car, and it'll take you wherever you want to go when you get out. Yeah, we don't have that. Little something like that would be great. It would be nice in the botanical garden. There's a lot of things that we need to do. We have no infrastructure, and it's been going on for 40 years. Yeah, and every time we talk about it, nobody wants to talk. Yeah, very poor, very poor. I don't have enough bathrooms. I went to Cameron Brack. I was like in shock. I was there for the weekend, and I went down to a place that doesn't have a beach, but they had shelter, and I noticed that they had a bathroom, an actual concrete building, with doors, windows, plumbing, electrical. And I'm going, oh, my God, it's across the street from the cemetery. Yeah. So I saw a man, he was fishing there. I said, you all fish here? And he says, yes, sir. He said, we fish here. This is a good place, It's really nice. And think about that. How many places we have in Cayman that Cayman you can go and fish? Yeah, you got Marine Conservation Officer checking you to make sure you're not, catching smaller fish. And then I said to him, I'm so impressed of Cameron Brack because I said, you're all the way up here, almost to Spot Bay, and you have a bathroom. He said, sir, we have 6 bathrooms. I said, what are you talking about?
Wow.
He said, see that one over there across the street? See 2 more over there?
All
we have
indoor plumbing.
I was going like, Cameron Brack has, actual infrastructure. You go down to Governor's House Reef, they still got a porta potty.
Yeah.
And then when you're sitting down there on the public beach, you'll have 1 bathroom. Go down there to the public beach. There's 1 men's bathroom, 1 woman's bathroom, 1 shower. How many people are there?
And the state that those bathrooms are in on a daily basis is just, oh my God.
It's disgusting.
We should be ashamed of ourselves.
Yes. Yes. But anyway, I'm going to leave you with that. I'm going to make somebody else, give a conversation on this.
Thank you, sir. We certainly do appreciate your valuable feedback. Yeah, thank you, and have a great weekend. We do appreciate it. 745-2626 is the number, or 928-2562 if WhatsApp is your preferred method. It is 21 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock, and we do need to pause, take a very short, but our last commercial break, giving us about just over 7 minutes before we have to sign off for the day. And I do believe there's at least one more WhatsApp comment, if I'm not mistaken. But we're going to check that during the break, and if there is one there, then
first there with my new mouth.
Yes, we will. Exactly. Brand new mouth today. Keep it locked. There'll be more Straight Talk still to come right here on Bobo 103.1 FM.
More Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio coming up. Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Bobo FM.
Join Capella Music Festival for the annual Soundbites Charity Dinner on Thursday, March 27th at Mykonos State Club in benefit of Loud Silent Voices. Hosting special guests Gramps Morgan and author Dr. Annabelle Manalo Morgan. Tickets are $195 CI for a 3-course dinner, wine, and a welcome cocktail. Enjoy musical entertainment, special guest attendees, and after-dinner dancing. Purchase your Soundbites dinner tickets now at CapellaMusicFestival.com.
Welcome back to Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio. Have your say on 745-2626. Bobo FM.
And welcome back, K-Man, to more Straight Talk here on Bobo 103.1 FM and simulcast live over YouTube at Straight Talk Radio Show. Also streaming on Instagram at the same username. 745-2626 is the number, or 928-2562 on the WhatsApp number. And before I invite my colleague to respond to the last caller, I suggest he waited because there's another comment along the same lines that I wanted to address. And let's go to it. This is a listener comment. It says, "Good evening, gentlemen. I was in total shock and at a loss for words as I listened to Marla on CMR. And what really bothered me was how people were taking her word as the gospel truth. I have been in cruise tourism for over 30 years. And some of the things she was saying were just outright wrong. The name of her presentation said Beyond the Debate and Into the Data, but there has never been a debate to go beyond from. The public should be asking for one if they want to make informed decisions. She needs to debate ACT. That's the only way people can get all of the information they need, not just twisted, misleading storytelling." Well, again, 928-2562 is the number to WhatsApp, and we thank our listening audience for sharing their views in whatever platform is more convenient to them. Ellio?
How much time do we have left now, Mr. Harris?
4 minutes and 30 seconds. If you leave me just 30 seconds to do a close, you can have all 4 minutes.
Well, all I'm going to say here is, CPR, in my humble opinion, with all the greatest respect, are nothing but cowards hiding behind the bushes. Because if they weren't, throwing rocks, because they should be able to sit down and have a proper, respectful dialogue. The people deserve it, to be able to hear a proper back and forth, and that would help to elucidate them and allow them to be able to make up their minds on how they want to vote on the 3rd of April, 2025. And I'm encouraging my Caymanian people to understand the fact that CPR has been invited to do so at least on 4 separate occasions, not just by ACT, but other media houses, including CMR. And nobody has rose to the challenge, okay? At the end of the day, that in itself speaks volumes. Ms. Dugaran came here to this country, and again, why she's interfering in local politics, I have no idea. But that is something else for us to consider. Is this going to be the new norm now, that we'll not only have to deal with all the foreign nationals who are here, new Caymanians, some of them who are in retirement and want the country for themselves, but we're also going to be bringing them in to engage in debates. She stated that she has worked on this issue with her team for over a month. So I'm pretty sure somebody's paying her a pretty penny. Now, CPR said that they didn't pay for her, but she also said that CPR invited her. So somebody's paying for it on behalf of CPR. All of that would be good things for us to know, right? Because I want the public to understand, everyone in this country, including the environment, benefits from a pier. There's only one group or two groups, if you like, that doesn't benefit. It is the owners of the tenders who are probably making anywhere between $7 and $9 million a year. Good chunk of change. I can understand why they want to fight for it. Well, that group wins. And in addition to that, would be these persons that have come here. They have, I don't know, raped and pillaged wherever they were, built and constructed whatever they want to construct in their homes. Now they're here to retire. And the last thing they want to deal with is anyone, including Caymanians, coming through their neighborhoods. I can guarantee you they would love to do that, but I guess they're starting with the cruise tourists. And then, of course, you have a couple of Caymanians, a bunch of Uncle Toms that are running around helping them to fulfill their agenda. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to do the best thing I can do insofar as this debate. My colleague, Mr. Harris, is going to put all these snippets together that we can play for you as if we are having a debate. I want you to hear the nonsense coming out of her mouth, and then afterwards, I'm going to show you why it's nonsense. So hopefully we can have that on Tuesday, and that's about all I have to say for you today. Thank you very much for joining us. How much more time we have? No, I almost hit Lockman.
Almost.
Why I almost caught? What? I don't know.
I don't know what goes on in your head.
That's
sometimes.
my brother's name. I don't know. I don't know.
It does.
I guess you're a brother from another mother. Maybe that's what it is.
From another mother, indeed. Well, I just wanted to add, since all of these radio stations are inviting, creating a platform for ACT and CPR to debate, let me add Straight Talk to that list. I already have one debater representing ACT who, certainly knows the directions to the studio. We have another chair right there. It's open and available if they want to sit that close to you. But by all means, if you want to debate this issue, which I think certainly somebody needs to before we go to referendum day, you can add Straight Talk to that list. 44 seconds remaining in the rest of our day before we pause and take a break for the weekend. Just an opportunity to remind you, on Monday, our guest, Mr. Anthony Travers, local prominent attorney, going to speak to us about beneficial ownership registries, everything you wanted to know but were afraid to ask. Then on Wednesday, following that on the 26th, we will host Mr. Philip Ebanks, independent candidate for the constituency of Red Bay. He will be our guest in studios. And maybe, just maybe, we might also have another candidate on that day, but you're going to have to tune in to find out. I'm your host, Austin Harris.
And I'm Ellio Solomon, and see you on Monday.
The BBC on Bobo. This is the BBC World Service. Across Cayman on Bobo FM. The following commercial messages are brought to you exclusively